Hi, I'm back, and this week I'm going to be talking about a book that has changed the way that I teach reading in my class. Notice and Note by Kylene Beers and Robert Probst. Strategies for close reading. In my class, we do all types of reading. We are reading all the time. This book has made it possible for me to help students find the important parts of their text. Before this book, I would just tell students, find the important parts in the book. Go. It was really hard for them to do that. Maybe I modeled it in a mentor text, like let's say The Giver. I would find the important parts in The Giver. What happens in The Giver doesn't happen in the other books. They're two completely different books. How do you teach students to find the important parts in their book? What I really liked about this book was that they broke it down into different signposts that students need to be on the lookout for. For example, like contrasts and contradictions is one of the signposts. If a character is acting different than you would expect them to, that is important. It was really an eye-opener for me as a teacher because I finally had some language to use with my students that made sense, that they could apply to any book that they were reading. Another signpost was Words of the Wiser. They break it down and really describe typically Words of the Wiser looks like a character receiving advice from an older character. They're usually alone in a quiet spot. We find those moments, ever since I've been doing this with my students, we find those moments in all different types of books. If a student were to find Words of the Wiser, they know that that's an important spot. Other signposts are tough questions, memory moments, again and again, aha moments. Aha moment, I really stress with students, it's not their aha moment when they finally realize something. It's the character's aha moment. We may know for a really long time the truth, but the character finally sees the truth. That aha moment is so key. And talk about the climax of the story, the turning point of the story typically is around an aha moment. I have these posters that I made hanging in my room that is a constant reminder for students to be on the lookout for these signposts. Now, finding the signposts isn't enough. You have to react to the sign. You're driving down the road and you see a stop sign and you're like, oh, that's nice. And you just keep on driving. You see a stop sign and you stop, or you should. School children crossing sign. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And you just keep on going. That would be absurd. That reading a book like that is absurd. If you see something that you think is an important part, just reading right on by it and not thinking about it is absurd. You have to stop and think about it. And that's how we really get to the deep down meaning of the books that we read. These signposts, when students find them, they have to react to them. And in the book, they have a question that goes along with each signpost. With that contrast and contradiction one, if you come across a character that's acting different than they should or than what they normally act like, you ask yourself why. Why is the character acting this way? By asking that simple question, students are automatically starting to analyze the text. I don't even have to come up with the questions myself anymore. The students do. I just tell them, keep track of the signposts. I don't tell them how many signposts to find. 3 contrasts and contradictions, 2 words of the wiser, 1 tough question. You can't do that because each book is different. That's just like saying, I want you to go on a drive. I want you to find 1 watch out for deer sign, 1 icy bridge sign. That's ridiculous. It depends on which road you're taking. I just tell students, I want you to be on the lookout for signposts. And I might tell them, try to find, 5 of them or 3 of them, depending how many pages I'm asking them to read and what I think would be a reasonable amount. Then I just say, choose 1 and analyze it. This book is the tool that I use to help guide my students through that process. It is full of ideas and examples. If you don't have this book, I highly suggest you go out and get it. It has changed the way I talk about books with my students.